Hate getting bombed by some random non whilst dillo mining? Are your rates horrendous because the route you use isn't perfect, making you get 3 mil per hour? Just make your own route SMH. Well, that really isn't so easy, but I can show you how to do it. To do this, you will first need to obtain what is known as a Crystal Hollows World download. It is exactly what it sounds like it is. I don't really know the specifics of getting a world download, but you basically get a world downloader mod, turn it on, and run around the normal Crystal Hollows, then do some funky stuff and paste it into a normal Minecraft world. The Mining Cult Discord server contains one in the mining guide section, but this is only a single download in the 1.19 version. You can ask people for world downloads too. If you do this, you might get ratted. Anyways, let's cut to the chase. First, you want to find a spot in the world download with as many veins close together as possible, all in an 8-chunk radius of each other, so no veins will despawn when you are too far away from them. This spot should also have a lot of larger veins. The larger the veins you use, the more blocks you mine and the more profit you get, which is what tends to determine in the public eye if a route is good or not. Having the spot you choose be near the edge of the Crystal Hollows also helps, because less structures tend to spawn in those areas. Once you know where you are going to make your route, you should start planning out what path it will take. This doesn't need to be exact, but it is important so you will actually be looping the route and not having some funky and inefficient teleports to get back to the start. If you are using 1.8 world downloads, then you should probably use the Soupy Waypoints feature to mark your waypoints. Soupy and Coal Weight aren't that much different, but Soupy is better because the waypoint block is highlighted. If you are using 1.19 instead, the only real option to use is Horde Rider, which kinda sucks. Then once you have all of that figured out and ready, you should be able to start creating your route. This can be pretty confusing, but it is important to persevere, and no route can be perfect. Sometimes you will need to go back on your route and delete some waypoints to go with another path, but don't give up. For reference of how I do this, here is a time-lapse for some of the creation of X6 Jade. Wait. Before I show you the footage, there is something very important to take into consideration while making the route. While stats on a route calculator might be fine if you do this, it is very important that your ether warp line of sight does not go through any gemstones that you mine. It is fine to have your ether warps go through any veins that you don't mine because you can simply bomb them, but you can't do the same for a gemstone you'd need to mine. But here's the route creation footage. If you created a new route and need to edit it later, I heavily recommend using coal weight waypoints for this since they automatically adjust when you insert or remove a vein. On to the next step, and the worst step, the demonic route setup process. Everything in this phase is pain and suffering, but once you complete it you get to move on to the paradise of basically free money land. First, to make this a little easier you will want to have a structure check for your route. If you made a new route, to do this you will want to go back into the Crystal Hollows world download and have all of the waypoints for your route loaded in either Soupy or coal weight, then use the other one to go through most of the area your route takes up in 10 to 20 waypoints. This can be used to see if there are any structures blocking off major parts of your route. If you don't look for structures before setting up, you can be an hour into setup and figure out your route isn't viable because there is some massive structure that griefs 30 veins of your route. Okay, on to how to actually set up the route. Depending on how quick you can set up the route, I would usually recommend having at least 3 to 4 hours of free time if you want to get a decent dillo mining session in. First, run through your structure check route, also loading in your main route to see how many veins have been blocked off by a structure while lobby swapping. It is important to remember some structures will protect the blocks around them from being dillo mined, but you can simply check if this protection exists by testing out if your mobility works on the exterior walls of the structure. Usually once I find a lobby with under 10 veins destroyed by structures, that is good enough for me, and I go back to the first waypoint, disable the structure check waypoints, and load the main route as coal weight ordered waypoints. Then you can turn on coal weight ordered waypoint setup mode, and clear out a path from waypoint to waypoint where the setup line shows. It goes through the line of sight to the next waypoint that you would have, simulating what you would actually need to have mined while mining in the route. This part of route setup is probably the worst and most time consuming, taking an hour or even more to do. Some routes may require bombs to clear out blocks that respawn when broken, like some gemstones or mithril in the way. To bomb these, simply mine out all of the blocks that you can break with your dillo in any nearby veins so those don't get permanently destroyed, then go on to bombing the aforementioned obstacle. When you are clearing out your route you will probably come upon structures that you found earlier and that block off some of your route. To get somewhat around this issue you will need to do what is called structure evading, where you add or remove new waypoints so that the route is still viable, like you might need to add in a pad solely to use for an ether warp with no gems on it, or maybe look for other gemstones that go around the structure. That will be all for this video. If you want a video on how to do the action of dillo mining though, I suggest you watch Implodent's video on it. Thanks for watching.